Welcome to this complete broadcast from the Wrestling Epicenter archives. On this episode, we welcome Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for an exclusive interview. This was conducted in September of 2004. If you like this content, give it a like and tell us what you think in the comments. And subscribe to our channel. It is free, and it helps us more than you know. Welcome to the show.
Hello everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Interactive Interview on the interactiveinterview.com. So we're joined by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Rick, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, guys. It's Tuesday morning over here in Mooresville, North Carolina, calling you from my boat shop here in Mooresville.
Well, that kind of leads into our first question. What have you been doing since you left the mainstream area of professional wrestling?
94 is when I retired.
Right.
In 95-ish, I opened up a health club up here in Lake Norman. Had that up until 2001 and sold it. During the late 90s, my son got involved with some car racing, and he still is. And worked at a race shop for a couple of years. And then a friend of mine and myself, about 8 months ago, decided to open up our own shop and get more into working on boats. We do work on cars, but mostly trying to work on boats here on Lake Norman up here in Mooresville.
Wow.
And that brings me to current what I'm doing now. We have our own shop here and just doing pretty good here working on boats.
Well, that's great to hear. We usually go in like a date order, so we're going to go way back to the beginning. And what attracted you to professional wrestling?
Well, I grew up in Florida, in St. Petersburg, and on Saturdays, on occasion, with my friends in high school and stuff, we used to watch Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't until around 1974 that through a contact, I ventured up to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and went through Vern Gagne's training school. That was in 74.
Right.
And actually, what got me interested, I wrestled in high school and was pretty good as an amateur wrestler. Watched the entertainment pro wrestling on TV with Florida Championship Wrestling. I thought it was entertaining, and just said, well, maybe I can do that. And so through a contact, actually a girlfriend of mine who went to Minneapolis to become a flight attendant for Northwest Orient. And her roommate was Donna Gagne, which was Vern's daughter at the time. And just through some exchanges of phone numbers, I got a starting date and ventured from Florida up to Minneapolis to go through the camp.
Is she the one that married Larry Zbyszko?
No.
No,
Donna?
Yeah.
No, I think that might have been Kathy, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Donna's ever married. No.
Now, we normally do word associations towards the end of the show, but there are just two names I'd quickly like to get your opinion on right now. The first is Dino Bravo.
Dino Bravo. Wow. Was an okay guy. I remembered him in the late 70s and early 80s when he wrestled here in the for Crockett Promotions for Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
Was a pretty good worker. But on and off for a couple years, even though he was a babyface here and I was a face, we didn't travel that much together. But okay guy in the locker room, and a pretty hard worker in the ring.
And the second one's Jay Youngblood.
Jay Youngblood, the best tag team partner I've ever had.
Wow.
For a guy that probably stood 5'9", 5'10", and weighed 195 pounds, knew how to work, had a lot of fire as a babyface for his comebacks, and also knew how to sell his butt off when it was time for the heels to get heat. And excellent. We gelled real well as a tag team, the best tag team partner I ever had.
Were you surprised to hear that he passed away?
Yeah, well, I would say we were together for almost 5 years, and the last year that we were together, he was getting mixed up on the wrong things to do, and was getting to the point where it would show in his work in our matches. I was really surprised when he passed at such an early age. I think he was like 29.
Yeah. On Christmas of 1983, they announced that you were leaving the business or retiring. What led to this decision, and was there an angle involved, or were you literally going to be done with the business?
Actually, it was, I would say, pretty much an angle involved where they wanted to, Crockett Promotions at the time wanted to make it like a retirement for me, but at the time I was just opening up my first gym in Charlotte and just felt that I just needed to be there since I had my name up front, and just was actually just going to take a break away from the business for about 6 months. But they made it, they wanted to make it more like a retirement thing to make I guess, a bigger deal out of it.
And then you resurfaced in 1985 in the WWF.
Yeah.
So what brought you back?
Well, after opening up the gym and taking some time off, came back to Crockett Promotions. Dusty Rhodes at the time was working in the office as the booker. Him also being a babyface, but he was the guy. He was the guy with the pencil.
Right.
I could see the direction where how he was using me, pretty much as a stepping stone. So using me to work with some of the top heels and put them over, and then he would come in behind me and beat them in 5 minutes. George Scott at the time was working for Vince McMahon as the booker up there.
Right.
Gave me a lot of success when he worked for Crockett here. He was actually he was the booker and instrumented the matches between Flair and myself as I was getting started in the main event caliber.
Right.
When he went to Vince, I got a phone call from him, and it wasn't too long afterwards, at early '85, I started working for the WWF, and that was because of George Scott.
What do you think of the direction the WWF was taking by going on MTV and the supercards like WrestleMania?
Well, let me go back to the mid '80s when I started working for Vince, and understanding that he wanted to take the business to another level,
right,
and doing what he was doing with production and his TVs, and of course the first WrestleManias on through, how business just went like wildfire, sellouts everywhere we went, credible people were actually watching the show, movie stars and people that were higher up that normally you would not think that was just a typical wrestling fan, but became a wrestling fan because of the production level that Vince brought to the table. And then through the 80s and then 90s, and understanding where, I guess, to hold the audience, he's continually trying to take the business to different levels to see what works and what doesn't work, there's some things I don't agree with, and there's, but I also understand that here's a man with that is trying to keep the audience and keeping the business to where he generates new viewing people all the time.
Absolutely.
Now, one of our former guests on the show, who when he came on spoke very highly of you, Jake the Snake Roberts, he injured you with a DDT. Now, can you tell us what was the extent of the injuries that you received from that move?
Never went to the hospital, but I suspected that, and it was planned for, to where he was going to. They had these mats around the ring on the floor, and he moved the mats away, and that was designed to give me a DDT on the cement floor, then have them carry me out in the stretcher to start an angle between the two of us.
Right.
Actually, I did take the DDT at a full blow. My forehead swelled up tremendously, and it was kind of scary looking there for a while, but it was strictly by design, and I tried to make it look as help him along with the DDT as best as possible, because of the fact we had some handheld cameras down there on the floor level, and everything was in real tight, and just wanted to make it good, and we just did a DDT just a tick too close, and it just gave me I suspect, a slight concussion, although I did not lose consciousness, but my forehead swelled up, oh my goodness, like I had a softball sticking out of the side of in the front of my forehead. It looked like Neanderthal man.
What is your opinion of Jake?
excellent worker, great psychologist in the ring. You know, at that time, for a guy that was, how tall is Jake? 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy.
Tall guy, but wasn't built.
Right. He had the rock and roll build.
More built like a basketball player.
Right.
But his work ability in the ring was so convincing that it didn't matter who he was working with. Could be very, very convincing in the ring. You know, his punches were great. The way he would register and sell was great. Always a joy to work with him in the ring whenever him and I, you know, hooked up together to work.
Here's a question I'm sure you get asked 1,000 times. WrestleMania 3, your match with Randy Savage.
Yeah.
What are your memories?
You know, we got a lot of PR on that match, and it was probably because of the fact that Hogan and Andre was the two main event guys that sold the show, both live at the Silverdome with 90-some thousand plus people there, and also the pay-per-view buy rate, which was very high.
Absolutely.
And that's how we got a lot of press. Savage and I knew this going in, that this was going to be a big show because they were billing Hogan and the Giant. So we just wanted to take advantage of it and put together a match that we actually had the idea that we're going to, you know, they drew the show, but we're going to steal it.
Right.
We ended up stealing the show and got the best match out of that show.
And now's probably a good time to ask this one. Could you compare for us your classic matches with Ric Flair to your classic matches with Randy Savage? Which would you say held more value in your career overall?
Well, you know, I would have to say with Flair, I worked more with Flair, but by design, in most cases, Flair and I would go into the match only knowing the finish, and most of the match would be called in the ring, feeling out the people and using that type of psychology, which I thought was more professional. Randy was the type of guy that liked to have the whole match completely designed out, you know, from start to finish. And sometimes when you do that, things that you are doing in the ring may not work, and it's very hard to change midstream,
Right.
Especially with everything being thought of beforehand. If Flair and I were working the arm or the leg or whatever part of the body and the people weren't buying it, we would move on to something else until we found something that they did buy, and then go on with the match. And that's typically why we had so many classic matches that, you know, went 45, 50, 55, and 60 minutes.
Right.
We just got pure joy out of working with each other in the ring, and that was another reason why our matches always went so long. The people buying a ticket knew that if we were headlining the show, that they were going to get their money's worth on a hell of a match. So, you know, we never went out there with the idea that we're just going to go 15 or 20 minutes. We knew that we were in for the long run, but it wasn't anything that was begrudging. It was always something that was inspiring.
Do you feel that's a lost art, being able to call it in the ring instead of calling it in the back?
Well, I don't mind having a couple of, you know, good spots, and always having the attitude that if the match dictates the spots, you know, to use them, just don't use them for the sake of using a spot.
Right.
But if the match dictates, and if that's the picture that we're painting in front of the crowd, if that's the direction that we're going, and the spot does come up fine, it's always good to have a couple in your hip pocket.
Right.
But most of a true professional, you go out there and just try to feel the fans out and pick a direction, and if they're buying it, you know, then you really go with the flow. That is the way I've always liked to do things.
It was very short after your Intercontinental title win that they gave the belt to the Honky Tonk Man, and you seemed to disappear off the screen. What happened, and why was your run with the title so short?
Well, when Vince told me that I was going to get the Intercontinental title,
right,
and he said that I was probably going to have it for about a year to establish me as the Intercontinental Champion, I was very pleased, but also at the same time, I was going to have a son
right,
that was going to be born in July, and he was born on July the 7th.
Right.
So I was right up front with Vince and asking him, I would like to have 2 weeks off in July. This was before I got the belt at WrestleMania.
Right.
2 weeks off, so that I could be there when my son was born.
Right.
And there was no problem with that. I didn't have it too long afterwards, maybe, I don't know, 10 weeks or so like that he just came up to me on the TV and said that he had a change of plans, and that he wanted me to drop the belt to Honky Tonk, Wayne Ferris,
Right.
at that TV. I said, fine. And then after I dropped the belt to Wayne, I said, do you remember when in July I was asking to have 2 weeks off?
Right.
He said, yes. I said, well, I'm going to take 6 months off, and that's why I sort of disappeared for 6 months.
Wow. That's
I mean, it was kind of a shock to me because his reason was that they didn't want to leave the belt, the Intercontinental belt, dormant
right.
during those 2 weeks. And I thought 2 weeks out of a year was nothing. And thinking back the kind of schedule that we were wrestling at, sometimes we would be in Philly and you wouldn't be back there for a month.
Right.
Or Madison Square Garden or L.A. or whatever. You wouldn't be back for maybe a month or 2 months.
Right.
So I just thought 2 weeks was just a short period of time, maybe almost asking like to have a weekend.
Right.
And then when he came up with the idea he didn't want to leave the belt dormant, I had heard that when Wayne Ferris, Honky Tonk, came aboard, that Vince was very instrumental in designing the costumes and giving him his ring intro song, and was going to try and push him real hard. So I guess just using me as an example at that time was part of his Vince's thought process.
Were you surprised that they didn't have you return the favor to Savage at WrestleMania 4?
I was very surprised because that is after I had taken 6 months off and I was coming back.
Right.
And we knew going in that Savage was going to be win the belt on that. It was like a tournament.
Uh-huh. Right.
And I saw on the brackets that I was going to have Savage in the second round, and I was going to have Greg in the first round. And I thought, well, looking at it, I'll probably go over Greg and then return the favor back to Savage and put him over because of the fact we had that classic match the year before.
Right.
That never came about. I guess it was just Vince again was trying to use me as an example, and Valentine went over me, and that match never came about. Although I thought for the business, for the company, that people would have been sitting on the edge of their seat to see what kind of match Savage and I would have had, considering the big match we had the year before.
I absolutely agree. Is that
what? So that was part of the reason that maybe you went back to the NWA?
Yeah, that was probably when, about 88.
Right.
Yeah. And I worked there through the year of 88 and then left Vince and did a surprise showing up with, I guess, Dustin Rhodes in Savannah, Georgia, as his mystery tag team partner, and went to work for WCW. And then in 89 got the belt from Flair.
Right. You also you returned to the WWF in 91 with that crazy dragon character with the tail and the breathing of fire. Did you think that was Vince somehow holding a grudge on you or anything like that?
Well, at the time, he flew me up. We talked. He said, "We're going to use you as main event. Going to try and bring new life into Ricky the Dragon Steamboat." He had hired a person to do costume designing, as like a lot of the guys were getting that, with different costume design, and with Coco Beware and all that.
Right.
At the time, no. I had thought that they were giving me a big push and flew me down to Florida to a guy by the name of Brian LaPalme, who had worked in the circus as a fire breather, and spent a couple days with him to teach me how to do it, and thought it would be a big hit on the show, especially the TVs and the pay-per-views to blow fire in the ring and come in as the dragon, And then it went on for about 10 months, and pretty much I was working, opening match and first match, second match, third match on the card, periodically asking Vince when the main event slot was going to come up, and always put me off until maybe the next TV. And after 10 months of just working underneath, I just called him up one day and gave him my notice.
Yes, and
Just and it's very coincidental at that time of the conversation. He happened to say that, well, we were planning to do something with you and the Honky Tonk. You and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, on the next TV. And I said, well, I've made my mind up. I said, I've been working underneath for you for 10 months, getting underneath pay, and I said, my workability, I think, is pretty well established, and being a world champion and this and that. I just, it's just too late.
When you
then after that, I went back to the WCW.
Right, and then you teamed up with Dustin Rhodes, and then eventually Shane Douglas, who was a former guest on our show, who spoke absolutely glowing terms of you. What is your memories of working, or teaming, I should say, with Shane Douglas?
Shane was, he was a guy that really wanted to know, wanted to learn.
Right.
And riding to towns and back from towns, we would talk about the matches, and very, very teachable guy, and was just one of those enthusiastic guys that knew that here he had a little bit of a break with WCW, tag teaming with me, and we were the champions, had the belts, and just worked hard, very, very hard, and was also as a fun guy to be with. We became close friends, and we would work out together and have great matches in the evening, and had some great matches with the late Brian Pillman and also with Steve Austin at the time. And both those guys were very, very hard workers too.
Right. That was actually our next question, what you thought of those two guys.
We not only had a lot of fun in the ring, but we also, worked very hard. And those guys would be there no matter how long the match would go. If they were getting heat up and it was time for the comeback and that babyface was in there with a lot of fire, whether it was me or whether it was Shane, those two guys would be there. I don't care how blowed up they'd be. They would be there taking bumps and just making us look good and end up having just great, great matches. And I knew Austin had it in him. He was also one of those guys that was wanting to know, wanting to learn.
Right.
Tell me this, or do you think this is right? This is the right time to do this in the course of this match, and stuff like that. Do you mind if I think of something in the course of our match to tell you in the ring if we can do it, And I was always open to it.
Absolutely.
Both guys, it was a joy to work with those guys.
What was your take on the Dos Hombres?
Dos Hombres. Kind of cartoonish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad it didn't last too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the cover-up that Shane was injured, wasn't it?
Right.
Right, okay. Because that's what he pretty much had said to us, but he was pretty adamant that how stupid it was. So.
Yeah. I call it cartoonish. You can also call it stupid.
What led to you retiring from wrestling? What was the injury?
I've got 2 herniated discs in my lower back, and it was a bump I was working with Austin. I took a bump off the top rope and landed on my tailbone and compressed my spine. Did a spinal compression and herniated 2 discs. And, it was pretty painful. And after going to 3 doctors and ending up at Duke University and going through some CAT scans and MRIs and telling me that, you could probably get back in the ring and work, but let me tell you this, that you're gonna blow out one of these discs, and then we're going to go in and we're going to cut you open, and your life's going to change. I was probably 4 or 5 months from being a 20-year guy.
Right.
And so I said, well, I had a good career, and I just elected to get out, mostly for health reasons.
Right.
Had a son at the time, was about, I guess at that time he was around 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
And you know how it is with us guys being on the road all the time, and you got family at home. So
Absolutely.
it was even though the heart wanted to continue to work, the mind was telling me, be smart about this because you could really screw up the rest of your life.
Right.
So
like Muhammad Ali, I guess.
Yeah, and I just didn't. And if I can't get in the ring and work the way I used to work, I want the people to remember me as I was, not like, well, you bring up Muhammad Ali, in which I should have retired.
Right.
His last couple of fights, he's getting beaten up pretty well.
Right.
And I don't want to didn't want the fans to remember me as, well, Ricky should have retired, because I know in my matches I would be holding back, thinking about my back and not being able to perform like the way I wanted to. So I just sort of bowed out and disappeared for a while.
Right.
What are your thoughts on like Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels and such, coming back from major injuries after surgery?
Well, and speaking for them, it's probably a blessing. You know, I was trying to avoid surgery, so.
Right.
But then again, I know who are some of the guys that have neck surgeries? Arn Anderson.
Right.
Malenko. That had surgery and could not quite work at the level that they wanted to work at.
Right.
You know, so they had to bow out. But they went through surgery first. My game was that I don't want to be cut on, especially in the back or in the neck area.
Right.
And then try to make a comeback and then screw something else up.
In your short stay with NWA TNA, you seem to be getting some heel qualities, and then all of a sudden you were off the show. Any reasons why this happened?
About turning me heel, I didn't feel that. They probably wanted me to be a little bit more stern, because I've always been a babyface throughout my career, bringing me in like a commissioner,
Right.
to uphold law and order.
Right.
That didn't last too long either. They never gave me a reason why. I was getting booked and getting my flight tickets to do the pay-per-views, and next thing you know, no more flight tickets and no more phone calls about coming back. So
there was no.
Maybe things were tight in their budget at the time. I don't know. Never got a reason why we're not going to be using you, Rick. Never got a reason.
Of course, you now work with Ring of Honor, just come off of a program with CM Punk. What were your thoughts, basically, on CM Punk and Ring of Honor in general?
Once again, I guess I'm kind of lucky to be working with guys throughout my career that would just want to learn and want to work. And CM is that kind of a guy. Great guy to work with, and always open to suggestions. I know I've done a few things in the ring with him, but there's also trying to be very conscious of my back. Gabe, with the company, has been trying to get me to work a match, but I'm just not going to work a match because I know I can't work a match the way I used to be able to work, and I'm not going to take that chance on my back. I had one company offer me some pretty big money just to work one match, and I turned it down. And it's not a money issue. It's just that I'm just thinking of Rick and his back, and I just don't want to get cut on.
Right. You wouldn't even come back if they offered you a match with Flair?
Oh, I don't. You know, I can't make that call now because I haven't been approached.
Right.
The thought of working with Flair again would always be a joy, but then I've got to be smart, and I got to think of what will work with Rick for the rest of his life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you read Rick's book?
Captures of it. I do have the book, and I've just read bits and pieces of it.
What is your take on what he has to say about your ex-wife Bonnie?
Well, that's sort of
touchy.
It's she was hard to deal with. That's why we're exes. And always like to be in the controlling factor. And in our business, with the boys, the wives should stay out of the business. She wanted to be controlling and even trying to, say and have an opinion on what was right and what was wrong for me to do. Just many times, always left me between a hard place and a rock. With bookers and promoters and of course her at home. So. It's he was a little bit hard on it, but bottom line is that she was hard to deal with.
There's a quote in there that he says George Scott's made that he said, "Get rid of her." That I know that she disputes. So, do you believe that George Scott would have said something like that?
I know this is a tough one.
Yeah. George never came to me with it.
Right.
So that's the best that I can tell you on that. You know.
Okay, well, before we wrap up, would you mind if we do some word associations?
Okay.
We can give you a name, and if you have a story, you can feel free. If it's just one word, that's fine, too.
Okay.
All right, the first name I have on the list is Vern Gagne.
Really from old school. I guess I was fortunate to go through his camp and make it through his camp. At the time when I finished, you know, he was requiring everybody that went through his camp to pay him 10% of what they earned throughout their wrestling career. I didn't like that. I didn't at the beginning. I thought that was the norm until finding out later that the boys were saying he's getting 10% of booking you or calling it a booking fee. So when I got myself booked to come to Charlotte in 1977, I quit paying him. And he confronted me about that. And I said, well, you didn't book me to Charlotte, so why should I pay you? And I don't know. I guess I do have some respect to him, to what he did for the business and what he did for his territory, but him just trying to get 10% out of guys, and he was, at that time, a multi-millionaire, and, you know, and a lot of time the guys weren't making all that type of big money, so, you know, to send him 10% was hard to bite on.
Don Morocco.
What a joy to work with. Yep, what a joy to another guy with him and Mr. Fuji in his corner, always coming up with great ideas and good psychology in the ring. Hard worker too. Don got up to where he was pretty big, 280, 300 pounds when we were working our program, but like I said, he was always there for my comebacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Harley Race.
Oh, God. You know, a consummate worker. To be the world champion as he did and travel around to represent the NWA and to work with different guys almost every night, and to be able to do it for the length and period of time that he did it for, you know, high praise with Harley, and I do keep in touch with him periodically.
How about the Junkyard Dog?
Another, you know, I think, you know, JYD was limited to what he would do in the ring, but he would get the point across, and out of the ring, he was always a prince of a guy too. You know, did great interviews, and did a JYD thing in the ring to a T. And I know for Bill Watts, he drew him a lot of money, made him a lot of money.
How about somebody we lost last year that I always say shocked me, and it still does, Miss Elizabeth?
I just knew her as a very quiet girl, and I just knew her during the time when she was married to Randy. Yeah, and it shocked me. I don't know much about Miss Elizabeth other than that period in time when Savage and I were working our deal back in '86, '87. So not much to say about her.
Jim Barnett.
Probably talked to Jim Barnett just a few times. Didn't know much of him or how much pull or power he had behind the scenes in the wrestling business, especially out of Atlanta, Georgia. So that's what I can say about that.
How about Hulk Hogan?
Well, there's a guy that got a big push at the right time. The Rocky movie came out and was very, very successful. Vince nabbed him from Vern.
Right.
And the guy could talk a good, you know, could talk good on the mic. Was big in stature and was convincing, you know, the way he looked.
Right.
You know, his work was okay. I think that if you've seen one of Hulk Hogan's matches, you've seen pretty much the same match night after night, you know. You know, in a 1 to 10, his work was probably about a 6. Yeah.
Okay, two left, and the second to last one is Ric Flair.
There's a guy that there was a guy that was very conscious about the business and very smart on how to make him look good and keep himself looking good. I'm not saying that as a downfall, but basically, if all of us guys would think as hard as he did on how to keep yourself on top, you know, that was the name of the game.
Yeah,
Always treated me decent. Always had the best matches on the card whenever him and I were hooked up.
Right.
Hard worker and so forth and so on.
A little while ago, we were talking about guys that you said, like Muhammad Ali, that you thought should have stepped out. Would you put Flair in that boat, or do you think he's still as good as he ever was?
Well, no. I think he should have gotten out. I don't mind. You know, he loved the business so much, and everybody that knows Ric Flair's list, he knows that he just loved the business. And for him to make periodic calls to the ring, I don't see a problem with that. And everybody that has followed his career should understand how, you know, what, the guy's 54 years old now?
55, yes.
55 years old?
Yes.
And there's a 55-year-old man that can almost do all that he did when he was in his 20s.
Right.
You know? But for him to be featured on a regular basis, you know, and I think right now that he's just being asked, you know, to call back in the ring on an occasion. Is that correct?
Yeah, he actually wrestled tonight, or last night anyway. So yeah, it's like once every month or so.
Yeah.
Steps in there. And the final one I have for you is Vince McMahon.
Oh. Well, him and I do not see eye to eye on a lot of things. He was always trying to get me under contract, and I wouldn't sign. And it probably cost me a ton of money. The only drawback I saw in that was he wanted to have the controlling rights of Ricky Steamboat for perpetuity, which meant forever.
Right.
I always wanted to. I said I'd be open to sign any contract that you'd bring forth to me and have controlling rights over my name if we just put a timetable on the contract. You know, if you want to make it a duration of a 1-year deal or 3-year deal, or, you know, I would be happy to do that. But for him to have controlling rights of the name forever, and if I left on bad terms, and then I couldn't take my name with me, you know, that's where I saw the downfall. But a guy with a big ego, and I guess you have to have it in some way, shape, or form, considering that the position that he's in our business. There's a lot of guys that don't like him. There's a lot of guys that are thankful to him. There's a lot of guys he made rich.
Right.
But, you know, the bottom line with Vince McMahon, it's either his way or no way.
Right.
And sometimes human nature just doesn't allow you to do that.
Absolutely. If he called you up and tried to invite you to the Hall of Fame, would you entertain his offer?
Let's go on record by saying I would entertain the offer, and I don't know right now if I would say yay or nay, but I would give it some serious thought.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we really can't thank you enough for your time. This has been far surpassed all of our expectation.
Okay, guys.
Go ahead, Daniel. Fire away.
One final question I want to throw.
Yeah.
Because since you're working with Ring of Honor now, I want to know your thoughts on their roster and who you think will be the next big name. If anyone from Ring of Honor, you know, that you've worked with is, you know, your pick for the top, who would it be?
Well, obviously it would. I'd have to go with CM. Right now they're in the process, or they're just starting the process of turning him into a babyface. And I'd like to see which direction they go with that. And also me coming aboard and using some of my suggestions and ideas on how to make it right for CM,
right,
and turning him from heel to babyface. You know, I think he could step up to the plate if he went to the WWE. I don't know if he would be up there with an Austin or, you know, like some of the big guys that they've put the company on. You know, like Hulk Hogan, the company was surrounded around him.
Right.
Austin, the company was surrounded around him. The Rock, the company was surrounded around him. I don't think CM is at that capacity, but he sure would be a good main eventer, and he'd be a good hand to have on the card.
Right. Do you think Ring of Honor will ever be anything compared to the WWE, or do you think they'll be at that level?
Just this level that they're in.
There will be, people have asked me, said, do you ever think wrestling will ever come back to the way it was? And I don't think wrestling will come back to the way it was. I think we'll have some groups out there like Ring of Honor that will be like a minor league, like a minor league in baseball.
Right.
And then you have your choice guys that prove themselves minor league that make it to the majors.
Right.
And the majors being Vince.
Right.
So that's the direction to where I see, 2 or 3 good companies with a good foundation, guys proving themselves, and then being picked up by the WWE, like the way, a baseball player working in the minors for 2 or 3 years, and then he gets picked up by a major league team.
Right. Right.
No, I don't think anybody will ever be at the level that Vince is at, or be at the level that Vince was 10 years ago. Vince is going to be Vince, and everybody else is going to be everybody else.
Excellent. Well, once again, thank you so much for your time. I know this went longer than we expected, but we really can't thank you enough.
All right, guys.
All right, have a great day.
Hey guys, it's Tessa Blanchard, and you're in the Wrestling Epicenter.
Last night was Unforgiven, and we just finished up with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
We sure did.
We did. Are we unforgiven for this crime?
We are unforgiven. Are you gonna unforgive them for that pay-per-view, or did you like it, or did you not like it, or?
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I don't know what that means. It was okay. It was a, I'll be honest. Now, what people don't seem to be mentioning about this pay-per-view is 3 weeks before it took place, it was pretty unclear to us what brand it was going to belong to. So really, all the matches they put together, they slung together in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it turned out looking like it was slung together in 2 weeks. No, I'm just kidding. It was okay. We can run down the card. That would be great with me.
Yeah.
Well, the opening match.
So can I just say that how good it was to see Maven actually pick up a victory on Heat?
Really?
Yeah.
Who'd he beat?
He beat Rodney Mack. Yeah, which I enjoyed watching.
I still have not actually seen Rodney Mack work. How is he?
He's not bad. He's not great.
Yeah, he's in.
So he teamed up with Jazz. So.
He's in the SmackDown Here Comes the Pain game. I know that much. That's about the only time I've ever really seen him. And I don't know what to make of him based on that. Except his character in the game looks almost identical to The Rock. Seriously, if you play in that, what mode is that called? The Slobber Knocker mode?
Yeah.
Where they just all basically come at you? Half the time you have to take a double take to know if that's Rock or Rodney Mack. At least I do. But I'm a little strange in a way. So, first match on the card was Chris Benoit and Lord Steven Regal, who now apparently changed his name to William. I know he did it a long time ago, but I just always wondered exactly how that took place.
Yeah, no, he just came back when he rejoined. He was William Regal, so.
Wonder what his he's been wrestling a long time. In the AWA, he was Steven Regal, and that was almost 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, he's been around a while.
Right. So I always end. They keep saying he was fighting people in the streets of London and everything since he was Blackpool, since he was 14. Well, how long ago was that? I'd like to know.
A long time. He's getting on now, and he's a bit older. Willie.
You think he's about 40 or so?
Hang on 1 second, hang on.
You think he's what then, about 40 or so?
Yeah, he's got to be quite old. But coming towards the end of his career, but then again...
Then that means he's due for a push.
Yeah.
Apparently. Apparently that's their line of thinking anyway.
So what did you think of the match? This was...
And they were wrestling, for those who don't know, they were wrestling Batista and Ric Flair.
Yeah, him and what? It's Batista and Flair. This was one of the only 2 matches that I was 100% conscious for. So.
All I can say is the same things I've been saying, and I know the internet's not going to like it, but, if you watch Flair, you could tell it's time. Do you really, and Dave Scher made this point, and I keep going back to this as being some kind of reasoning, but he says people, when they read these polls, remember the Ric Flair that had a match a couple weeks ago, and how that match wasn't that good. Well, that's true. And the problem is, Flair really can't hold it like he used to. I mean, and is it really to be expected that he could? I mean, the guy is 50-something years old. He has been doing it for 30-some-odd years. I mean, his body's beaten up, and now if you watch him, you can see that he's not nearly as flexible as he used to be. I mean, the crippler crossface, it was tough to tell if Benoit had it locked in or not, because Flair was not bending enough. You know? I mean, that's just something that's pretty necessary to the match, and it just wasn't there. So.
By the same token, Batista's not exactly wouldn't be the easiest person to let that move on, just because of his sheer, you know.
Yeah, he's not very limber. Yeah, that's true, but still, you know, Flair once was limber, you know.
I mean, I quite enjoyed the match in general. Regal seemed slightly legitimately agitated by the fact that his mouth was pouring red blood after the match, but as he left the ring, it just looked like he was kind of attempting to try and celebrate the victory, but at the same time kind of sort of like, ow.
When I get into the back, I'm going to kick his ass. No. Who did it, Batista or Flair, do you know?
Smart money says Batista, but I didn't actually notice who did it.
Right. It probably would have been, but oh well. Alright.
But I enjoyed that. I mean, of course, the next match was the.
It was a good opener. I was surprised to see it. I want to say this too. Most people don't mention this, and I want to, because they don't. You know, it's the subtle things that you don't notice about the WWE that makes it number one. The arena was really cool. I liked the whole setup.
Yeah.
How you had the matches, like the photos of the guys up on the screen, and you know, it just had a really cool look about it. Had like a retro-ish look to it, I think.
I know because, you know, I'm running my first show in 2 weeks, so I can appreciate, you know, how much effort and how much, you know, planning and thought we're going to design into something like that. But yeah, it comes off and you can tell. So.
Absolutely.
Cool. Of course, that was the opener, and the second match, the women's title match, Trish against Victoria. I enjoyed it as itself, as what it was.
Yeah, for what it was. I mean, you weren't expecting a five-star Matt Classic.
I quite enjoyed it as women's matches go. I'm not a big fan. I've said it before. I honestly think that some of the girls in the UK that wrestle are more entertaining than the ones the WWE has. But, you know, I'm not a big fan of women's wrestling in general, so.
Well, to the WWE, you have to have that somewhat Barbie-ish look.
Yeah.
And I guess if you were just going to go on sheer talent, some of the girls wouldn't look so great.
Of course, that then led into the Tyson Tomko versus Steven Richards impromptu squash,
which was completely pointless.
Yeah, it was hard to watch as well because you could tell the crowd wasn't interested at all.
Yeah, and Steven Richards was just revealed. Why job him? I mean, does it help Tomko? Does it hurt Stevie? The answer is no, it doesn't help him, and yes, it hurts Stevie.
I mean, all that happened was he was unmasked. A small ECW chant broke out. People started to cheer when he got on the upper hand, and then he got squashed. It just didn't make sense. Fair enough, you have to book things before they happen, and obviously you can't predict whether a live crowd's going to absolutely hate.
Yeah, but you can pretty much predict that if you're stopping somebody for 3 minutes, that they're going to start to get a little bit like fight back already.
Yeah.
You know, he was just stomping him, and he was in the ropes and getting punched. I mean, there was no. I mean, I'm not a big fan of high spots galore, but there was no high spot at all. It was just punch, kick, stomp. That's it.
It was pretty much Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, only not quite as even.
Yeah, and neither one of those guys is so believable that you think, Jesus, these guys are killing each other. I mean, Tomko will be there, so.
I suppose he's actually slightly better on the mic than I would have thought, because when he called him out, he actually managed to bring a sentence together and not stumble over it like a lot of people do.
And I would like to.
He seemed confident in himself, at least.
Yes, he did, and I'd like to break the scoop on what exactly Trish whispered in his ear.
What was that?
She said, "If you build it, they will come." No, maybe if you stroke it, they will come. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that might have been it might have been the opposite, but not either way. I don't know exactly what she said, but I wish I knew.
I was just thinking maybe, taped it and round it back and turn the sound up or something. You like so they say. So, you've disappointed me now.
Yeah. No. I didn't listen closely. No.
Fine.
Oh well. What was it? What was the next match? Was it already the ladder match?
It was the ladder match. Yeah, it was nice and early.
Wow. That was, in terms of all things that are brutal, that was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, we like Chris Jericho. I personally think Christian is incredible. I never was a big fan. Never was a big fan until recently when I saw him cutting promos.
Yeah, he says he's Captain Charisma. He really is Captain Charisma. He absolutely oozes charisma.
Absolutely. He is the CLB. No. I was trying to figure out what that meant, and then I remembered a promo that Jericho cut just before WrestleMania, and he called him a creepy little bastard.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I could never remember what the first word was. I knew it was little bastard at the end.
Right.
I could never remember what the first one was, and I kept thinking, is it Christian little bastard? Or is it creepy? Yep.
I was trying to remember that when they kept calling him that last night, and I thought it was like a term of endearment, and I was trying to think, what is his other initials? And I kept trying to figure it out, and then I went, oh, Jericho called him a creepy little bastard, that's right.
Because, I mean, they were trying to sell their soul to get people to bring CLB signs before Christian got injured. And then last night they didn't have to do a thing, and the crowd jumped out in a CLB chant, so... It only took 4 months to set in, but, finally the crowd's gotten onto it, so...
The only thing is now, do you keep feuding them, because we've already seen it before?
Yeah, we have. I mean, I don't know, I think they're still going to go... I think they'll go with this as a placemat for, a few weeks until Edge can actually wrestle again.
And then I think they're going to work the Edge Christian thing.
I don't know, I think they'll work Edge and Jericho first before they work Edge and Christian.
No, I don't mean feud, I think they might pair them together.
Yeah.
Again.
I'd like to see Edge and Christian feud again, actually, but on a higher level, so... In terms of, say if it was going to be Orton versus Triple H again, I'd like to see Edge and Christian as the semi-main.
Right, maybe. That could work, but I just think they need to put those two together and maybe do something to jumpstart the tag division, which we'll get into later, because right now it's just dead. But, alright, where were we now?
Next match was...
It wasn't the tag match. I think it might have been leading.
Was it Kane and Michael?
I think so, because I'm thinking that there wasn't that many matches on this card.
No, it wasn't. The impromptu Stevie match was the only one that was added, so...
Right, and that was well worth it.
Filled a bit of time, I suppose. Yeah, the next match would have been here.
It made me nostalgic for Diva Dodgeball.
Yeah, it's a step up on that, I suppose.
Oh, one spot on Jericho's match I want to talk about, and he mentioned this in the promo right after it. They're on top of the ladder reaching up, and the ladder goes sideways. I assume it was supposed to do this. And Jericho looked like he was going to fall on his back onto the mat. And the ladder landed sideways, and he landed on that ladder like he was about to ride it. It was like riding a bike, and it just dug into his back, and it looked like it might have caught him in the hind end. It looked pretty painful. And during the promo, Coach comes up to him and says, how do you feel being the new Intercontinental Champion? And he said, I just had a ladder halfway up my ass. How do you think I feel? And I was thinking, yeah, that's a pretty good description of it. That's okay.
So where would you put that in terms of ladder matches of all time?
Not up there, because the finish was just so weak.
Yeah.
They just basically both did a double face bump, and for some reason Jericho was able to get up and Christian wasn't. But I think they were hurt, and they weren't able to do the finishes proper. Either that, or it just came off wrong.
Yeah. Then again, I mean, in terms of finishes to ladder matches, it always is slightly anticlimactical, because you kind of think, no, they're not going to get it. They're not going to get. They got it. Okay. But I mean, unless it's gone on for a long while.
Only a few of them have been done properly.
Yeah.
I remember the three greatest ladder matches that I've seen, and people already emailed me about this, were WrestleMania 10, Michaels against Trey Ramon. I really am one of the, it seems like I'm one of the few that thought that was a lot better than their SummerSlam rematch. But that's just me. The next one that I thought was a great one was Chris Benoit against Jeff Jarrett from Starrcade 99. So that was a great one, and they did some inventive spots with it that hadn't been done in WWE before. And then I think probably the King of the Mountain match in TNA, which is pretty much a ladder match. Simply because
I've never seen that one, so I can't comment on that one.
AJ took a wicked bump, man. They had these like cages, kind of like the penalty box that WCW used in their penalty box matches, and they were right outside the ring, and they were about even with the top rope. And Raven pushes the ladder over, and AJ lands right on top of one of those cages. And it looked to me like it would have hurt like hell.
Yeah.
But, alright, he was fired 2 days later and working, so he must have been alright.
Then again, AJ is an incredibly strong person, because when he wrestled over here recently on a show, he wrestled against a wrestler called James Ty. And James Ty went to do a, like Mark Jindrak has his jumping Hurricane Rana. Yeah. Where he jumps to the top rope and does Hurricane Rana. James Ty tried to do something like that, but it was overhead belly to belly off the top rope, where he sort of springboards himself onto the ropes. But he missed with his left foot, and basically ended up doing a kind of a modified over-the-shoulder DDT, straight down on AJ. He kind of got back up. You could tell his face was well bloodied and everything. He just got back up and just carried on, like as if nothing had happened. But if that happened to anyone else, it would have been like, would have felt like hell, basically.
Yeah, well, I've seen him do some incredible things. I mean, he's just, he's also in the archives, by the way. An interview conducted, I guess you would say, about a year and a half ago now.
Yeah, that's been a while ago.
We'll have to try to get him back on the show. Yeah, but he was a good guest, and I've seen him do some incredible things, and apparently, who is it doing his move again? Is it Billy Gunn? That's now doing the Styles Clash and calling it the Crash Landing. Which, of course, was punned by another former guest on the show who's no longer with us, Crash Holly. He started doing the Crash Landing on Heat, which was a version of the Styles Clash.
I'm not sure. I mean...
Yeah, he did. I saw it a couple times. I saw him
I'm thinking about Billy Gunn. Is it Billy Gunn who's starting to do it now? I'm not sure.
I think so. I can't picture somebody his size doing it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm just... at least it's someone in WWE, so that Frankie Kazarian doesn't have to come up against another person doing it on the indie scene.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery, so...
Yeah. So, Chris Daniels should be very flattered.
Yeah, people seem to rip him off all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so what did you think of the Shawn Michaels Kane match?
It's fine. It was good to see Michaels back. I think they blew it by having him at the convention a couple weeks before that on Raw. I don't know if they show that on UK, but he was at the Republican convention in New York, and they showed him. And I think the selling point of the thing was you hadn't seen him since he got his ass beat. And now that wasn't really the case, because you saw him standing in the middle of Madison Square Garden with Ivory, who apparently does nothing more than a promo twice a year.
No, she does. She's on Heat nowadays.
Is she? Does she wrestle or what?
No, she's just a commentator.
Yeah, she's probably about 45.
Yeah, she's past it. Past, she's old. So. She something mildly funny. As it's I think it's Bobcat or something like that, who was fired for faking an injury when it was a legitimate injury. I think it was her, or It was one of those girls that were working in OVW, and basically 3 people accused them of faking injuries. First was Jackie, who's been fired. Second was Pritchard. Was it Tom Pritchard or Bruce Pritchard? One of the two.
Mr. Pritchard, as they
It's Tom Pritchard.
Jake Roberts, if you ever haven't heard it, listen to Jake Roberts' interview. He calls him Mr. Pritchard. I just think that's hysterical.
It was the one who, maybe Bruce Pritchard. I'm not sure which one, but one of them just got fired.
Why would they? No. Bruce Pritchard is Brother Love. And Tom Pritchard was one of the Heavenly Bodies.
Yeah.
So.
I can't remember which one it is, but it's the one who never got fired. They were the person. They were also accused of being involved in this, saying that they faked an injury when it's actually a completely legitimate injury.
How dare they fake how dare they say a woman faked it?
And the third person was Ivory. So, what's your back, Ivory?
2 down, 1 to go.
But yeah, anyway, she's on there. And then, Kane, Shawn Michaels, Kane continues his run of just not being able to win on pay-per-views.
Yeah, that's well, he did win last week. No, last month.
He won against Matt Hardy, but apart from that, if you look at Kane's pay-per-view record, for someone who's still considered a main eventer, he's done very well to handle his character and keep it, on the top.
And that's one thing he doesn't get enough credit for. I mean, true. Lita. I mean, the truth, those are pretty piss-poor promos, but he's doing a good job of keeping it over.
Yeah.
That was actually a pretty good impression, wasn't it?
Average.
Okay.
I wouldn't give you one.
I've been practicing my SpongeBob SquarePants impression. I don't know if you have that in the UK either.
We do, but I never watch it.
I actually did it when I answered the phone, and then they thought it was some kind of a weird recording. So I can't do it now, though.
What I've got to do, I'm going to add a message to my phone where it says, "Hello." Oh, yeah. I can't hear you. No, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
I got you. There's a message after the beep.
Yes.
I love those messages. I've been got by them so many times.
I got by them once on the show.
Oh, yes, I
Scott Chong.
Yep, I remember.
Scott Chong from
Speaking of Scott, I was watching Tough Enough 3 for again on Saturday morning, and it was the episode that Scott got cut. And, yeah, but he's a very nice guy. Former guest of the show, interview available in the archives on theinteractiveinterview.com. But yeah, no, lovely guy. So,
yep. So yeah, like I said, we've been avoiding talking about this match. It was fair.
Was it me, or did the finish to it, the switching music, just looked like it kind of didn't catch him right?
It didn't. I mean, but then again, I guess they were trying
sweet chest music.
Right. Yeah, Michaels might want to start doing a couple stretches before his matches again.
Yeah.
Make sure he get his leg up that high, which I've been battling, of course. They have these things in Tai Chi where you throw your leg up, and it looks like it's a punching bag kind of thing. And it is. I mean, that's what they're used for. But they're probably around 5.5 feet high. And you're supposed to throw your leg up on there and hold it there for about 5 minutes to stretch. Now, when the first time I tried to do this about 2 months ago, I just about fell on my ass. I mean, I got my leg up and I was like, whoa, this is not going to work. So, I've been practicing and stretching for the past couple months, and on Saturday I'm pleased to report I was able to throw my big-ass leg up on there. And so, I was stretching. Yes, well, I don't know why that fit in, but Michaels hit the sweet chin music, and I guess Kane didn't go down, or what happened, but it made sense, because having him get knocked out would have been pretty weak for his character, but still, it was alright. And, Michaels walks by Lita, you're not sure what is going to happen there, and I think he kissed her hand, which is pretty sweet, makes him look like a gentleman. Great call of the night was, there was a line that Jim Ross had. And it was something to the effect of, what could she do with her hand? And you just heard silence from Baller. And Jim Ross replies, I'm actually sorry, I just asked that question.
Jerry, what something I thought was quite funny was was it during the opening match he said about Eugene, but then he used it again and again. He used the same line a few times, where he said, "Yeah, Eugene will be sitting at home watching the radio." I found that actually quite funny because it's good for the. Actually, that's the gimmick and whatnot. So, but then he used it again. And he said he'd be sitting home fiddling with the knobs on the radio, trying to watch and not realising where he can't see it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you've used it once. It was good the first time. Don't kill it. Don't kill it.
Right. You know, he's a good commentator, I guess. Now that there's not as many women around the show, that he can't act like an asshole. But
well, there is the research, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess that lets him be himself. Which, by the way, a couple weeks ago, that was just disgusting. The Diva Search thing was just, you get whatever minutes to diss your opponent.
Yeah.
And I don't think they said one word that could be aired on TV. That was just bleep. I mean, everything was censored. Did you not see it?
Yeah, I heard about it. It wasn't actually aired in the UK.
They must have
cut the entire thing.
Yeah, that was probably a wise choice. They do that in Canada too. They cut out things that they find offensive.
Yeah.
And back when WCW had Nitro, Mark Madden, who was the editor of Ric Flair's book, and of course the WCW announcer, had his shirt ripped off by Tank Abbott, and they censored it because apparently Mark Madden's breasts looked too feminine because he was such a heavy guy. Now, that is just such a... if I were mad, I'd be Mark, I'd be self-conscious of that.
Quite funny, though.
Yeah. And next up was the tag team title main event.
It was, yeah.
Yes.
Slightly strange position of that.
Well, they couldn't put it as the opener because you saw the reaction it got. Horrible. I mean, the tag division's dead. There's one tag team that's actually a tag team, and one slung together team.
Yeah, you could consider them a tag team nowadays because they're probably going to stick together.
What, Kane, Rhino, and Jerry? Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do because they just don't have any tag teams. And you can't just sling guys together like that. I mean, for the past however many months, it's been, Booker T and Rob Van Dam, and of course both of those guys are now on SmackDown. So there are no tag teams left.
It's slightly surprising that when they bring up, like someone like Mordecai, who is a tag team wrestler, and they bring him up as a singles wrestler.
And they put him on SmackDown. Maybe they should have, if they could have had it. I mean, what was his gimmick in OVW? Was it Mordecai?
It was 7.
Is it? Okay. I guess it's from the movie. It was a movie.
I'm not sure. I've only seen a few OVW tapes. I'm not certain off the top of my head, but But it wasn't Mordecai.
Well, they should have used 7. It's easier to spell. I still can't figure out.
They should bring in the Havana Pitbulls. Because I think the Havana Pitbulls would be a WWE style. They'd be quite a good lower mid-card team.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the Bashards, in that they're bold and hard, but they don't look like each other. Ricky Reyes and Rocky Romero. So they worked out in MLW and such, and they're a good team. But of course, you could suggest everybody in the West World as being signed, and no one will ever actually eventually get signed.
They just need to bring up new talent. They said they're bringing Shelton Benjamin back. That's fine.
Benjamin.
What?
Mr. Benjamin.
Yeah.
He was on Velocity this week.
Great. I mean,
Daniel's been catching up on his WWE. On the Sunday nights when pay-per-views are on, you get Velocity at 11, Heat at 12, and the pay-per-view from 1 till 4. So,
did he have a match on Velocity?
He did. He was against...
See, that seems like a wasted return then.
Was he against? He was against someone. I couldn't tell you who. Yeah, he was on Velocity against them.
Isn't Velocity the SmackDown?
Yeah, it is.
Why would they put him on there?
I don't know. But, yeah. He was on there.
Maybe I don't know what they're gonna do. I'd probably send Jericho over to not Benjamin, Jericho over to SmackDown because they need some friggin' star power over there. But it's not necessarily.
Yeah, the Big Show is back. Well, let's finish off talking just about this match in the main event, then we can quickly chat about SmackDown.
Okay, because they need to do something to save its ass.
It's low resistance against Rhino Tajiri. Low resistance retained. It's not a surprise because obviously they're the main tag team now, so.
Pretty much the only tag team I'll continue to say.
Pretty much.
You know, compare them to TNA's tag division, and TNA blows them away. I mean, TNA has not been doing a lot that I've been crazy about lately, but their tag division is definitely clearly defined.
And the Naturals coming into their own.
Yes, they become really good at promos. I was never a big fan of theirs until very recently. I saw them cutting promos. I saw them put on a couple good matches in a row, and you know, I said, well, you know what, these guys are pretty good.
So yeah, that was that. It was what it was basically. Sort of strange for putting.
I guess it was kind of to be a bumper match to let the crowd settle down after the Kane HBK match, but I don't think they were all that wound up into it anyway. I mean, when you look back, they had Lita against somebody right after Hogan and Rock at WrestleMania 18, and right before the world title match between Triple H and Jericho.
Yeah, they do have their odd ways.
Right. It was basically just a bumper match.
And of course, the main event, Triple H gets Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Did you think this would happen?
I didn't think it was going to happen, no, but I'm not
pleased.
You know, I'm sure the internet's already on him. I'm pretty sure anyway. Saying, oh, he's got the belt again. You know, when's he going to stop using his stroke? Blah 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 blah. The guy has been out of the main event basically since WrestleMania. I would not personally have given him the belt back yet or ever again, but you know, he's been doing his jobs for people. He jobbed to Eugene. He gave everybody a rub. Shelton Benjamin. He deserves it, you know? I mean, he deserves it for working hard. Then again, I just wonder what they're going to do now. What's next? I mean, who gets the title shot? Please don't say Michaels, because we've already seen Triple H against Michaels.
You never know. I mean, maybe Shelton Benjamin.
Oh, God. All right.
There's something different. But apparently, according to the internet, of course you've got to believe everything you read on the internet with a pinch of salt, but according to the internet they reckon that Orton's better at chasing the title than he is at holding the title. So
I thought he was a good champion for what he was. I still think it was too early.
Yeah.
But I really liked the segment on Raw where he was escaping the cage. It was really well done, and it was a unique perspective because you never really see that. I mean, the closest that reminded me of Uncensored '96. It was Hogan in the ring with the Dungeon of Doom. Hogan had the chair, and they had about 10 guys, and Hogan just like spun in a circle and kept whapping everybody in the head. And that was a cool visual, except they didn't seem to realize how to finish it, so they just had the Dungeon walk out of the cage. And it just didn't seem believable that 10 guys would walk out, you know?
Yeah.
So instead, he stood there with the chair, got his whaps in on people, but when it came down to being a standoff, he threw the chair into Triple H's face and ran out. And that's the proper way to exit that.
I mean, yeah, so that's why they've put the title back on Mr. Triple H, but yeah.
Oh well.
I enjoyed the match personally.
Yeah, no, I wasn't that crazy about it, but it's fine. That's when I started to doze off.
Yeah, I must admit I did actually fall asleep through a tiny bit of it, but then again, I've got slightly more of an excuse than you given it was at 4 AM.
Yeah, I just don't sleep enough.
Yeah, I suppose you did go to bed pretty late the night before, so.
Well, I went to bed late last night, too. I'm up early.
Every night, I assume.
Almost. I've almost got the complete season of Wings taped, the complete series of my show Wings taped, and once I have it taped, I will be going to sleep at a normal hour, because it's shown at like 3:30 in the morning here. God bless Nick and Knight. Okay, so...
God bless video recorders.
Yes. Once it's all recorded, I will be going to sleep. But until then, I almost got them all. So what's next?
Well, of course, you've got that new GameCube game.
Yes, Day of Reckoning.
What are your thoughts?
Very impressive. I rented it first, and then now I've actually been given it to me for my birthday, which was Friday.
On Friday. Yep, happy birthday, Friday.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to send out a happy birthday note to a girl named Amanda, who's apparently a big fan of ours. She thinks you're very cute, and she loves the way I go, during interviews.
I was gonna go cute, but then I thought, no, that doesn't work. But hello to Amanda.
Yes, she just celebrated her birthday on September 5th. So, happy birthday to her.
September 5th. I was in Spain on your birthday. But of course, I've just come back off holiday and I've got a lovely tan. Which is why we've had a short lack of updates.
Right. And we're going to try to book some more interviews in the next week. We have Marty Jannetty Part 3 confirmed. Of course, it didn't actually happen, but we're still working on it. And we're going to bring some new people. We got Sherry Martel, possibly.
Yeah.
And a couple others, so stay tuned. Anyway, SmackDown, Day of Reckoning is a good game. The only problem that I've seen with it so far is I've beaten the story mode on both Raw and SmackDown now.
Right.
And the story modes are pretty much the same on no matter what you play, except with Raw it's evolution, so it makes 100% sense. And on SmackDown it's the new ministry.
Interesting.
And it's The Undertaker, Charlie Haas, The Big Show, and Booker T.
Different?
Yeah. It works out, and then of course at the end they have it where when you win the belt, it's an Iron Man match at WrestleMania, and you win the belt. At the end, they do the thing where, you know how Eddie Guerrero came out and celebrated with Chris Benoit?
Yeah.
Well, your first tag partner comes out and celebrates with you. So, at the end of the SmackDown version, Charlie Haas comes out and applauds you. And you fall, and Charlie Haas gives you a hug.
Oh.
But, I mean, on Raw, it's Batista that does, and that's somewhat believable. Charlie Haas to me is just a little bit like, get out of my spotlight.
Charlie Haas might, skyrocket to the top in the next couple of months. Tie in with the fact that he's skyrocketing on the game. But you never know.
Maybe so. If it's fair. I mean, you have to be a created wrestler when you play the story mode, which is fine. So, of course, you have to make your believable characters. I made... Well, take one guess at who I made.
Hulk Hogan?
Yeah. I made him. They have a move set for him. So, I just made that.
You're so predictable. But, of course, speaking of SmackDown, did you see SmackDown this week, Tom?
Mercifully no.
Well,
it's the big show. Yes, it's a big, bad show. Oh, I don't even... I wish I had a transcript on what exactly that line is. Is it, it's a big show all night long, or is it a big show somewhat?
it's a big bad show tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I tell you what, stay there. Keep with us.
Is
on 3strandwrestling.com, in the multimedia area.
Is Michael Hayes the singer of that song?
Oh, silly me. No. What? Is Michael Hayes the singer? Why are you asking that?
Because Michael Hayes was known for going, well, when he was the announcer, he always said, well, and he sang, too. He sang Bad Street, Atlanta, GA.
I can't find the login area on 3strandwrestling.com or S-Wrestling. Oh. I'm not going to try. Right, there we go. We enter your email address and your password.
Daniel's attempting.
Wrong and get on those, right?
Daniel is signing on to his own elite area.
Then you go across to the 3-Strand Wrestling multimedia section where you can get entrance theme lyrics. And I believe...
Do you have the Evolution lyrics?
It's the big show. Well, it's the big show. Yes, it's a big bad show tonight. Yeah, it's the big show. Come and crank it up and turn on all the lights, y'all. Well, get ready for something that you'll never know. You won't see it coming, but I promise you'll know when it's the big show.
All right. I think they should re-record it and have you sing.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I give it the continental touch.
Right.
See?
Now, wouldn't the Intercontinental title mean that it's not in the UK?
Well, it would be more than one continent.
I don't think it does it. Oh, that's true. I never really understood the name of that belt.
Yeah, it would mean that it's like it's defended all across the world. So really, it would mean that they'd have to defend it when they come over here.
So I guess the US title is the only localized title. Which apparently...
European title.
Which
made no sense at all.
Yeah, because... I mean, it just made no sense. I mean, they originally wanted to make it for the European wrestlers, I guess. But then again, the first match that I remember seeing for it was an actually great match between Bulldog and Owen.
Yeah. I suppose it was Bulldog's belt, really.
Right.
But, you know...
I think Owen won. Wasn't Owen the first European champion, or was it Bulldog?
I thought it was the Bulldog.
I just remember watching the match, and at the end, Brett came out. Or Pillman, I can't remember.
But I mean, that was a belt that, you know, when they brought it back again, it made no sense, because they didn't bring it back. I mean, it's like when X-Pac found it in someone's bag.
Right.
Or something, and it was brought back like that. It's like, okay, strange, but yeah.
Well, there was a time there that they had too many matches and too many wrestlers, and now, and of course that led to them thinking that they had to have too many belts. Now they have not enough talent, and as such, they don't need as many belts.
And can I just say, someone said the other day that I read on, I can't remember where it was. But someone compared John Heinrich, Heinrich, they compared him to a mixture of Brock Lesnar and Ken Shamrock. Can I say it's the worst comparison ever?
Why is that?
He basically is like Nathan Jones with white hair, I'd say. Because he's got the uncanny ability to be able to kind of pull a bit of a strange face and shake his face a bit, you know, like he's got, like he's constipated basically, and strain and make his face shake while going, yeah. That's really about it, actually. I'd say the only comparison you can make with Ken Shamrock is the fact that they wear those kind of gloves. They just wear those kind of fighting gloves. But apart from that, yeah, that's pretty much the limitation of the comparison there. And then Brock Lesnar had almost nearly mildly, perhaps a little bit similar hair, and also didn't wear a top.
Is it true that Mr. Lesnar was cut from the football team?
Yep, he's gone. He's out of there. His NFL dream's gone. I suppose at least he tried.
Yeah, well, let's just see if Vince brings him back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
I think he will be, actually.
I think he'll be back eventually.
Which is... I'm hoping not, but I think he will be back.
Yeah, well...
He made it almost to the first week of games.
Yeah.
So...
He tried.
It started out this week. I did not see if the Vikings won or not, so don't quote me.
Apparently, someone was saying to me the other day they had a bet on the Vikings and their bet came off, so... I don't know what that means. Yeah.
Okay. I watched... went to Alice Cooper's restaurant on Thursday night, and I watched the New England Patriots game, so that was cool to watch. But other than that, I don't know who won and lost this week. I really wish I paid more attention, but I've just been so lazy of late. 15 credit hours in college is a lot of classes. 5 different classes, and it's just a lot of work.
And I was going to mention the Big Show being back, and now I've suddenly seen Joe, I might as well quickly mention it. But yeah, he's back. He was supposed to come back in 2 weeks' time, but they debuted him. They brought him back in early for the big finish at the end of the lumberjack match. So he's back, and he completely cleaned house. Pretty much all the lumberjacks and the 2 participants in the main event, Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero, all got a choke slam for their thoughts.
Now let me put this to the test here. Okay? You have Triple H winning the world title. The internet undoubtedly is going to start saying, "Oh, how dare he use his stroke to win the belt again?" Kurt Angle apparently has been given some kind of stroke and opted to wrestle The Undertaker in his next feud. And the internet says, "Oh, that's great. Angle knows what we want." So apparently it's only good stroke if the guy using it is somebody they like. I don't know.
Well, that's the truth, surely.
I mean, I don't have anything against Triple H or against Kurt Angle. But I'm just thinking to myself, well, just at least be fair with what you do, you know?
I suppose it's because they know that, Kurt Angle isn't, married into the family, so I suppose they think...
Yeah, and I will always use that against Triple H, and I admit I don't like that he married into the family, but then again, love is...
Yeah, who's to decide, I suppose. So.
Right, so, maybe he really does love her. I don't know, if I had the chance, I'd love her. I mean, she is beautiful, but I just think, for some reason, whenever I think of her, I just think of that horrible visual of Vince choking her out with a pipe. That was, when you see things like that, when Vince is off TV and he lets the stars be stars, you get a respect for him. Oh, I wanted to mention this too. Bret Hart is in Day of Reckoning. Yeah. Surprising. And I also picked up at the store the other day, I saw this, and I got 2 guys that we've done interviews with have new WWE action figures out.
Who are they?
Jake the Snake Roberts and the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. They have 2 Legends figures out.
Alright.
Very nice looking figures. I put them up on my shelf. Still in the box, so in case they're ever collector's items. But I was surprised to see Jake, because Jake hates him. But oh well.
Maybe if it makes Jake money.
I guess he made some kind of arrangement that, you can market me, and I'll take the money.
Yep.
That's not really selling your soul. No.
Not at all. It's just making a bit of money, I suppose. So.
I think it would be if you'd show up on their show in case Vince says. I mean, just do everything he says, but I guess if you're just using it to market yourself, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can't do it on your own.
Yeah. And I just keeps people thinking about it and such.
Yeah, and Jake comes with a lovely snake. So, it's pretty cool looking. Yeah. It's
shame it's not like that in real life anymore.
Is that the one they say he killed?
Yeah, something like that. No one really found out the full details, even though I did manage to have an argument with Jeremy Borash about it.
Yes, our good friend Jeremy.
Good friend Jeremy.
TNA is done. Weekly pay-per-views, anyway.
Yeah.
They're still alive, but their weekly pay-per-views, their live ones anyway, they have 3 left, and they're best of shows.
Speaking of TNA and such, I'm playing as TNA on Total Extreme Wrestling. Adam Morales, who's a former guest of the show.
Great guest, by the way. Yeah, I love Adam because he actually remembered the Skid Row song.
And he came on, and his game, Total Extreme Wrestling, it used to be Total Extreme Warfare when he came on, but they changed the name so that it seemed more like a wrestling game. Having the word wrestling helps. which is true. So it's now Total Extreme Wrestling, and I've been playing that quite a lot recently. I'd really recommend you buy it, James. I think it's a sort of game that you play a hell of a lot. Seriously.
I think I probably would, and I would like to say Trish Stratus is known for playing this game.
Is she?
Yes, and damn if she hasn't learned something from it. She understands promos and what has to be done and when she has to be sexy and when she doesn't. And, you know, most people know that I had a friend that was a female in the business, and let's just say they do not grasp that concept as well.
So let's send a copy of TW out to TNA. Because, I mean, I'm playing as TNA at the moment, and if I just run down my roster, I did make a small mistake, and so when you start off, you start with, I think it's something like just under $1 million as TNA, or something like that. It's a few 100,000, and I kind of accidentally misread the amount of numbers on the balance of finance, and I accidentally bought a $2 million entranceway, which kind of put me in about $1.5 million debt. But unlike real life, TNA makes a hell of a lot of money on this, and just by running about a couple of months later, I'm back up and in the plus. So that my roster at the moment is Monegro. I'll just run through a couple of them. Abyss, ASL, the regular ones.
Are you going in alphabetical order?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Big Vito's still there, even though he's no longer with them in real life.
And I'd like to point out that this female wrestler had made a point of mentioning that she was with him now, wrestling-wise, and I said, don't get too comfortable, he'll be gone within 3 months, and I was ready again.
Yeah, but Big Vito, you know, he's back in shape and such.
I like Big Vito a lot. I'm not being insulting towards Vito, I'm just saying it's not going to work out.
No, he's done with them apparently, contract disputes.
I saw it. No, I saw it happening, I predicted it, and I was right. And it was from the first time I saw him, I said, don't get too comfortable with him, it's not going to work out. And they were like, oh, yeah, whatever you say. Well, I was right about I was right about Raven, I was right about him, so whatever.
But yeah, it's basically the core roster that's there at the moment, because you can keep your roster as it is. But if you go re-sign anyone, you only have to re-sign them to written deals instead. So I lost CM Punk, I lost BG James, and I lost Shane Douglas, all with different companies. But I re-signed Alex Shelley, I've got him, I've kept Big Vito, even though he's not in real life. I kept him in. And I brought in, Hulk Hogan.
Wow!
Like, realistically. Who's on some huge contract. Kevin Nash is also on a huge contract. I brought back P.E. Williams, because he wasn't on there for some reason. And I brought in Teddy Hart. Just because I thought that looked nice. So. And then I've got a nice long short list of people that I could bring at some point, including Super Dragon, who was making his UK debut for IPW on the 25th September. For any UK people listening.
And in case by some small chance that we don't have a show before then,
exactly.
Go ahead and give the hard sell.
www.ipwuk.com.
International Pro Wrestling.
Let's get ready to wrestle.
Oh, let's get ready to wrestle. Wow.
But yeah, so we should probably speak about the actual Ricky Steamboat interview itself before we leave.
Well, I want you to promote your IPW. Go ahead. Here's your chance.
IPW, International Pro Wrestling, the show that I am running.
IPW.
It's in Kent, which is just outside of London. You can reach the venue from pretty much every big major London train station. Of course, all the details are available on ipwuk.com. ipwuk.com, one word. About the venue and such, it's a one-night tournament card, and I'd say it's probably going to be one of the best events this year. Realistically looking at it, because I mean, if I want to be realistic, I'd say that it's going to be the best event of the year. But realistically looking at it, it's going to be in the top 5, I'd say.
And what are some of the matches?
I mean, it's got a lot of the young IPW talent on the card. So Tony Sefton, who's actually from Kent, working in his hometown for the first time, is on the card. Plus Super Dragon is going to be facing the winner of the tournament in the main event. And then it's progressional tournament, so there's 6 first-round matches. They then face each other in a gauntlet, no rules gauntlet as the semi-final, and then the final it's Super Dragon versus the winner in a Iron Fist match. Do you know what an Iron Fist match is, James?
I would assume it has something to do with an Iron Fist.
Close. It's an Iron Man match. It's a 30-minute time limit, as many falls as possible. But the difference is that if you knock out your opponent, then you win hands down. So you could be 5-0 down in pinfalls, but if you manage to turn around and knock the person out, you win.
It's actually a really cool name and a cool concept. I like that.
Thank you very much. It is appreciated.
The only thing is, how would you... You have to make sure that the guy actually sells that he's knocked out. Oh.
Then, of course, also on the card, Johnny Storm, former TNA wrestler.
Alright. Also a guest on the show.
Exactly, former guest of the show. Interviews in the archives. And as seen on the Wrestling Channel, Johnny Storm over in the UK, he's gone there. And also as seen on the Wrestling Channel.
Tell him to grow his hair out again.
I don't know, he does like his short hair. He looks good with short hair, I think. So, shaven head. But, and then Ricky Knight, Spud, and the Zebra Kid, all also seen on the Wrestling Channel. So, and Zebra Kid, of course, made one appearance in XPW back in the day, but he's also been a pro footballer, so he can't make too many appearances stateside.
I miss XPW. I mean, how could you miss porn stars trying to be sex symbols? How great was that?
Those were the days.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was really wannabe ECW.
Alright, well, that's gone now. A thing of the past. A king of the past.
Yes, it was. Well, IPW is not, and once again, check out www.ipwuk.com. And, for more, isn't
yeah, I do just want to, obviously, we've got to quickly talk about the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat interview itself before we leave. Ricky? Good interview. I liked it. It was, it's an interview you can easily listening, I'd say.
Easy listening, it's like Yanni.
Like what?
Yanni.
What's Yanni?
Yanni is some really gay, easy listening classical musician.
Ah, right, I see.
He's not really classical. I don't know what the hell you describe him as. I guess new age, new wave, some shit like that.
But, yeah, so it's a good easy listening interview. And of course, if you didn't hear, we also had his estranged ex-wife, Bonnie Steamboat, on the last show, which is available in the archives. www.theinteractiveinterview.com.
And she's a little bit more direct.
Yeah. And Ricky, gives his opinions, but obviously, Ricky's still involved in the business, so we wouldn't want, him coming on here and then losing friends or losing, bookings or whatnot, or, damaging.
I mean, I'm sure...
By coming on here and pulling, so-and-so and F in this, F in that, whatever.
Right, you don't want to Jake Robertson.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jake, and that's why I bought the figure, because I just, it was cool to see it there. I was like, what the hell? And, okay, cool. But yeah, it was a good interview. I liked it. It'd be nice to see Ricky allow himself to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, even though most of his success was not in the WWE. I think that'd be actually a good thing to see him be honored and remembered, because too many times you see some of these guys forgotten by time. A lot of these guys really work hard for years, and a lot of them end up in the Cauliflower Alley Club, and they hold conventions here in Las Vegas. I know you've been there. And when they're there, sometimes the older guys who are forgotten by time don't get as many people looking for autographs or whatever as the other guys that might be remembered, such as Roddy Piper or Missy Hyatt, who's there now, and various others. So if Ricky's going to do this, I want to make sure he's not forgotten by time. I doubt he would be, but still, the guy was probably better than most workers. I mean, definitely better than most workers.
And I mean, it's a very nice compliment for the CM Punk, that he said that he's the guy that he'd pick out the ROH roster as, the next breakout star.
Mhm.
It's got to be encouraging when someone like Ricky Steamboat says that about you.
Absolutely. And, hopefully CM Punk will read the transcript and catch that.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll answer his phone and come on the show.
Yeah.
We've been trying for a little while now.
Oh, little's not the word.
Yeah. For about a year now.
Punk, get your ass on the show, man.
Get your ass on the show, you punk.
Punk.
I think we should offer him.
Right.
I think we should offer him alcohol and drugs to come on.
Yeah, exactly. Just bribe him.
No.
He's not straight edge, really.
He's not.
That's a joke.
Okay.
That's just what Steve Corino was saying at an event I went to. Steve Corino and CM Punk were on the card, and he was saying, he said, with every Steve Corino T-shirt you buy, you get to find out what drugs and alcohol CM Punk was doing last night. So, which I thought was quite funny.
Steve Corino also a
And
former
Punk
guest.
did find it quite funny as well. So.
Steve Corino also a former guest on the show.
Exactly, another guest on the show. So.
Yeah, we've had just about everybody on.
It is pretty much a who's who of wrestling.
Now, what the hell are we going to do now?
I don't know. We'll probably just have to sit and talk senile for the next 2 years. Which shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, well, we should be pretty hard, though. Speaking of females, I'm going to play a slower song, I guess you would say.
Okay.
Because the last one I played was Ballad of Jane, and we're going through some shit female-wise of late, and this is just a song that I really like, and I think our good friend Eric from the forums will like, and I'm playing it. Is he even on the forums anymore?
I don't know.
I haven't seen him posting there. Anyway, Eric Clancy, it's Eric Clancy. Eric Clancy's favorite band, and let's play Warrant. This is a song called Face off their latest album with their former lead singer.
Well, that's all, folks. You have made it to the end of another video here on the Wrestling Epicenter channel. If you liked what you heard, please click the like button and leave a comment telling us what you think. And consider subscribing. It helps us more than you know. Thank you.